Dave, we're going to do something a little bit different and we'll turn the tables and coach each other.
Mm.
I'll start here because we're going to do some values, alignment, coaching, look for themes. Have you heard of the continuum of motivation?
Not.
Okay, this was really helpful for me. So let's say it was 5 years ago, and I was probably at one of the lowest points of my life, just in a place of being fairly depressed and, well, no, not fairly depressed. I was depressed. My wife helped me identify that. Actually had to call the therapist for me to just get some counseling. But there was this underlying realization of, oh, I think a lot of the things that are important to me are important because other people told me to, or I was chameleoning to the rooms that I was in. And you do that for long enough and it becomes a bit of a sickness, and you feel very odd when your world gets turned upside down because like, I don't actually know what I care about. Yeah. So part of the reason for that, as I started unpacking it, was realizing what the continuum of motivation was. And so if you think about this as a continuum, there's sort of 4 stops along that journey. And on the far side, you have punishment and reward. So people do things because they're going to be punished for it. And if they do the right thing, then they're rewarded for it. And that becomes this motivating factor. Yeah. The second one is guilt. Or you have this internal sense of like, this is what I draw my self-esteem from. So you start to identify with the things that you do, with your work or with the way that people see you. It becomes contingent to your self-esteem. I have to do this. That's the motivating factor. Yeah. And then you keep moving yourself to the other side of this continuum, and you get to goals. And goals are a great thing. We see a lot of people set like New Year's resolutions and that sort of stuff. And I lived in that camp for a long time. I think everybody can self-identify with all these points on the continuum, sure. Right? You don't live in just one camp. But we set goals, and maybe sometimes we don't even know why we set the goal, but it's like, well, I should probably lose some weight, so I'm going to set that goal. And what goals I think invite us into is values, which is the farthest other side of this continuum. But a lot of times our goals don't fully express what the value is. It's just kind of this general sense of like, I would like to accomplish that, but I don't ever necessarily fully get at the why. And what I realized being in this place of just like depression and wanting to recover and rediscover what I cared about was, values take you to a completely different conversation. Because if I start my goals and I start what the type of life I want to build from a place of this is what I deeply care about, there's a foundational root that just takes place that is way more grounding than any of the other parts of that continuum. Yeah. It's not contingent on it's not even contingent on you telling other people what your values are, but you know that you are living in alignment and making decisions in alignment with those values. Yeah. And so the idea for the next few minutes, we're not going to go for as long as maybe a normal coaching session would go, but it's just like, let's just find a theme that is true in you, a value that is true in your life. It might be semi-aspirational, or it could be something that's just very intrinsic to you. People find both to be beneficial at different times. But does that sound like fun?
I'm all in.
Okay. What do you think about that continuum?
It resonates.
Yeah.
It's like I can see myself on different plot points through that. I feel like my daughter is studying psychology now, and I was reminded some of like, it almost feels developmental, maybe a healthy, like what we should hopefully develop through, of like motivated by pain or pleasure to I should and I shouldn't, to I want to, but it's not, there's no, it's not sustainable. So yeah, I resonate with that.
It's funny how it's a little bit all like layered.
Yeah.
I talk about it. It feels like sometimes there's a thick layer. Like you imagine a book that you haven't touched in a while, like that thick layer of dust. I call it a thick layer of should. It's like, I should do this. And you have values underneath there. You probably have goals, but like that should that you have to kind of shake loose to get at. I think that's such a human experience.
Yeah.
But I like how you put that, was just like developmental. And that's also why you see people find religion or church at different parts of their life. And for some people, it becomes the should, and it becomes this like punishment reward thing. And for other people, it's like, oh no, this is like the deeply held values I have. It doesn't feel, it's love. And so I love seeing different people's journey with that stuff because it is so personal.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, I'm excited.
Okay, so I have a few things here. It's Choose Your Own Adventure. Those were my favorite books when I was a kid. Love I'm going to I'll tell you the names of them. You don't fully know where we're going, but I have Hall of Heroes, Fast Forward. This one sounds ominous, but Regret or Best Day. Which of the four do you kind of want to explore to start this off?
Pick one?
Yeah, just pick one.
Fast Forward.
All right. Fast forward. So we'll real quick, if you want to jot down some notes or you can talk it out because we're on a podcast and the deathly silence. People might have to fast forward 15 seconds a few times. Sure. But talk me through 10 years from now, words that you would want to describe yourself or phrases, and then also those closest to you. So you mentioned your daughter or your family, but the things that you would want to be said about you. So just some immediate like words or phrases that come to mind as you think of 10 years in the future, Dave.
10 years from now, what I myself
that's
what
and what let's just start with you. We'll just keep it really simple. So just how you hope to lean in and describe yourself 10 years from now, or what you hope to see.
Curious.
Keeping that alive, keep that fire.
Yeah. That's still true of me, more true of me. What's the right adjective or word here? Is humorous a word?
Absolutely.
Funny?
Yeah.
Not like funny, but like sense of humor, whatever the word is for that.
You can just put sense of humor. That's great.
Yeah, that fairly constantly, fairly regularly laughing and finding humor in the day in and day out hilarity of the world.
How do you feel like that is for you right now?
It's okay.
Yeah.
But good question. I think 10 to 20 years ago, it was large and in charge. And I think now it has been battered a little, and that is not special or unique to me. I lived 20 years in a hard world and saw hard things and had sad things happen. And in one sense, I think the 10-year forward thing, maybe you can help me think of a better word, but what I've come to really love and value and cherish in myself and more when I see it in other people is an ability to laugh at, sometimes even mock or take much less seriously even hard things without devaluing or demeaning them.
Right. You're not trying to brush past it. But
there's I think there's something incredibly healthy there of, wow, that just about took me down. Or if this hadn't happened, I don't know if I'd still be here. Or there's a weightiness that you don't have to sacrifice that I think humor in its kind of classic sense, not flippant, not silly, not out of touch, disconnected, disembodied, but humor.
Yeah, I wrote down light.
Yeah,
it's like this sense of you're just there's a lightness to things, but it's not. Yeah, again, it's not like in a not taking it in sort of way.
I would love to have lived 10 more years and seen 10 more years of hard, unjust, painful, sad things, and be even more hold them lightly. And because I think in that I'll be able to take them apart.
I love those words. So curious, some sort of sense of humor, feeling of lightness. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add to that? And you don't have to. This is only fun, so you don't have to force it.
No, it is. Yeah. It's super fun, but I think for time, let's just go with this.
Okay, awesome. So let's flip it really quick and just go outward, right? So we're not looking to become something for other people, but if you were to become this version of yourself, how does that impact the people around you and how they would describe you?
Yeah. I hope I would be someone that people would want to be there. Because if I'm feeling lonely or broken or weighed down by the world, I want to go spend time with Dave. That like, 'cause he puts something in perspective for me. I think that's the lightness or the humor that I think that's what's behind that. Maybe that's a friend, or the best kind of friend or community that I look forward to seeing Dave. I hope he's there. Because I have this thing I want to share with him, or that I'm struggling with, or it's just lightness kind of spreads. I would love that if that could be true.
I think that's already true of you.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
thanks.
But what a cool intention also to have of like, that's what I want to continue seeing for the next decade of my life.
I don't know if this is connected or not, but maybe you can relate to this too, as like kids growing up overseas, third culture kid stuff, where if you live a certain amount of time in two different places, it's hard to say where you're from.
Oh,
right?
The most difficult.
Where are you from? And you're like, well, when, or for how long?
And my wife tells me to just choose, but I'm like, I don't, that degrades
the whole half of my life. Yeah, exactly.
I'm so glad you said that.
I think in there somewhere is the picture of the big dining room table with, 40 years worth of friends and stories and pain and heartbreak and victory and love. And I guess this is a little cheating on what you asked, but I want people to feel like that's where I am is that kind of a place, and they're welcome there, or they could maybe even, they're thankful to be a part of that with me, or I don't know what that means, but that's definitely a driver. Maybe it's a value, maybe it's a love. And I don't think that is true of every person that I will ever meet. Only certain people are around that table for you. You know what I mean? And I think I'm simultaneously saying I want to be at somebody's table like that. And I guess I just want people to know that I value that.
Yeah.
I value friendship and community.
Just a layer deeper on that really quick. What is that? Do you feel like right now in that area that like you are setting the table in a sense for others, or like that sense of big dining room table is happening, or is there like actions that would have to happen in order for that to be something that is true of you?
Am I setting
my
own table or other people's tables?
When in the analogy you're giving, right, it's your dining room table in one sense. You want to be invited to others as well, right? Because this is but you also imagine having that dining room table and sharing those moments, creating those moments. Do you feel like you're in a season where you are doing that?
I'm not creating new people at that table, and I don't.
And do you desire that?
But I'm also, just before I answer the second part, I'm also really thankful for the people that I know are going to be at that table, and lately I've been able to log good time with them. So I don't know, maybe part of me is worried that if I kind of coast with just those people, it will be too small of a table. But then I'm thinking, you don't want it like, I'm not sure I want like a banquet hall. I don't want like 100 people there, So,
yeah, it becomes very impersonal.
Yeah. Where's that sweet spot? What's the number, of like, this is my tribe,
I think this is just a theory, but I wrote tables always set, and there's a posture that you encounter in people where there's an opportunity to go deep with anyone, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen with everyone.
Right.
And there's something about that posture that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And so like to have that as I'm so grateful for the people that I do have, and yet simultaneously I'm open
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
who I might meet, and that I could open the invitation,
Yeah.
and that the next decade is not just I'm so focused on the people I've met or are around me right now, but that the table is still always set. There's always an open spot for the potential of something.
Yeah. No, I like that. That feels accurate.
So typically I would do some other stuff before I go here, but I will tell you one of the things that's just an invitation on this specific little activity.
Yeah.
Everything you just said is not a 10-year. That's a wake up tomorrow.
Mm.
Nothing that we just said couldn't just be tomorrow.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Now, will it take time for that to mature and be cultivated? And, sure. But a lot of that is just a lens. You're already curious. And so that might be, I feel 7 curious today. What does 8 curious look like tomorrow if it's a scale of 1 to 10? Or that sense of light. It's not something that like 10 years from now you would wake up in. It's just something the invitation is literally always there. So you could we enlarged it to 10 years and then we just shrink it down and we go, okay, tomorrow.
You can start
like
tomorrow.
None of these things put like looking forward to see Dave, that type of perspective. Like what is that? It's connection. Right? It's like maybe that's you just shooting somebody a text or sending making a phone call where it's like, hey, missed you the last couple months. Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Like, man, Dave really cares about me. But I feel like sometimes the way that I think is, 10 years from now, this is who I want to be. Not I could wake up tomorrow. Because, again, when you're going from that continuum of values is something it's almost like once you're aware of it, you can't unsee it. Mm-hmm. I have this value of walking through life with this light, humorous feeling. I experienced that 20 years ago. There's nothing stopping me from tomorrow telling one more self-deprecating joke or being just a little bit more silly with my wife. But we think about it as if it's like, it's going to take a long time to unravel this or to rediscover it. But it's like good. That invitation's always there.
Yeah, it's good. Do you think it's weird or like unhealthy to have it be like a life goal or value to be someone that people wishes was there? I feel like I just said that out loud.
As a recovering people pleaser, the desire to be wanted is in all of us, right?
Yeah.
But I think that is to me where in knowing your internal value, but also knowing we were all created for connection. Like I want that for you. You would want that for me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so we're not making decisions based on that. Like, if I just cultivate myself in this way, then more people will want to be around me. Right. But instead it's like when I'm around somebody who's whole and who's living into even, I love the way you said like light, like just that approach it's an invitation to other people that just like, I love when I'm around Dave. And that nothing about that is sending off like a warning bell in me, like, man, you don't want to be like, shouldn't have said that out loud.
Manipulative was the word that came. If I can just make people invite me to things.
You could imagine a flavor where it is manipulative, right. But I also think there's an intention in all of us, the best of us, that's like, I want to be included. Yeah. And from that place, know that everybody wants to be included. And so I will include.
Yeah, that's good.
Curious if you want to pick another one here.
Another word?
Another one of these just activities. So we did fast forward. Yeah. So we have Hall of Heroes, regret, or best day.
Let's do regret.
Let's do regret. Yeah. Okay. So actually on a previous episode, I went deep on this. Usually if we had more time, I would go deeper into Daniel Pink's research around regret because the study is really beautiful. But he breaks down 4 types of regret. So before we don't even need to talk about what those are. But this is an invitation to get a little bit vulnerable with.
Yeah.
We're recording this, so go as deep or wherever you want to take it. But thinking back to most of the time, we can immediately think of maybe a few moments in our life where there was some regret. You want to take us there? What are a couple, maybe 2 or 3 things? We don't have to go into every detail of it, but high level, what are a couple things as you look back over the years that you regret? Stick with you.
I regret how quickly and overly dramatically I quit my job and I started the center.
Mm.
I caused frustration and pain that was unnecessary for my family. And I was so motivated by it and taken with these ideas, and I don't back off at all from like how great I think it was true, and so I still stand by and feel that, but I changed and caused change that was too fast and traumatic. And I regret not taking key people, namely wife, kids, immediate family. I even wonder sometimes about like past teammates or employers. It's just like in hindsight, it feels like a boom. Like it was just like, I love this. We're out.
New direction.
Let's go. Yeah. I regret that. I regret not doing that more slowly, more thoughtfully. It's funny. I think even just mere moments ago in podcast time, we were encouraging people to not feel like they had to do the big seismic dramatic shift. And I think there was probably an inner regret speaking there of I had more time than I thought I did. I had more runway than I thought I did. I had more resources and goodwill from people than I thought I did. And in some senses, it was selfish. It was just like, this is what I want to do. And so, get on board or leave. Or just like saying it dramatically. But I can see how it felt that way to people around me.
Is there, in your like personality and the way you make decisions, do you notice other times where
you don't have to finish that sentence? Oh yeah, absolutely. It's in the Enneagram world, I'm a 4, and so
why we're connected, by the way, Dave.
Are you a 4?
I'm a 3,
You're a
wing
3.
4.
Oh yeah.
So you just bring out this artistic beauty side of it. Like we could talk for a long time.
But so the 4-ness of like unique unicorn, I feel my feelings deeply. These are the only right things to feel and do. Like that is the unhealthy side of a 4 that riddles me for sure. Feeling something so deeply, loving uniqueness and individuality, like in health, what that looks like, but when it's unhealthy and narcissistic and selfish and small and closed, that's a vice. That's a shadow of mine for sure that I have to look out for.
What if you could go back and talk to Dave as he's starting the center? What would you advise him? Is it have a couple more conversations with your wife and your kids? Is it bringing them in? What would that have looked like?
Does the me that's talking to him, is it me today? Yeah. I would say this is a great idea and a good thing. It's so great and good. It's eternal. It's not going anywhere. Like you got time. Like if you don't act on this in the form of a kind of clear-cut decision today, it'll still be yours. It's okay. You're not gonna miss it. You're not gonna lose. You're not gonna be forgotten. You're not gonna. This is still a really good. It's so good and helpful that it'll always be there, and you can give it a beat or two, and make sure that your wife and kids and folks in your immediate circle that do they really understand this thing? I mean, it's so kind of new and exciting to you, Dave. Can you even describe it fully to yourself, And should you be able to? It's brand new. Like you're just so
wide-eyed.
This is like the new car, like, and you don't even know the specs on it yet, and I think I would ask my old self that because I'm 15 years wiser and older now, instead of being like, hey, dummy, like you don't know what you don't know. You can't even describe this to yourself. You're still trying to decide what to name the thing. and you're gonna, pull income and job and all that from your family. Like, hey, but because I'm because I'm older and wiser to my younger self, I'd probably ask it like that.
Mm. What do you think would have, and this is all hypothetical, but just from a place of curiosity, what do you think would have been different if you had taken that approach? How do you think your wife or your kids or previous employer would have?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know.
I think that's partially the element of regret is right there.
Right. Yeah. Did I lose? What did I miss out on by doing it this way? Yeah, for sure. I can guess pretty confidently that for more of the center's history and the part of my life that it would be more collaborative and shared and mutually loved. And by saying that, it is not at all the case that my family hates what I do,
right.
Not at all. But I think it could only have been more deeply connected and integral to our lives as a family. And thankfully, like my kids, they do talk about the center, and they accurately describe it to people, and they accurately say, "Oh, this sounds like," and so it's known and appreciated. But I think it would be more understood and more deeply loved and more integrated, rather than, I think, the time that it took to kind of heal from the jolt and the trauma of it. And then, of course, understandably, the work that was pulling me strongly away from what we knew and what we loved received a lot of the suspicion and frustration and anger, whatever this thing is that's taking Dave away or causing all this pain and frustration in our lives, or uncertainty.
Uncertainty is a good word for it. Yeah.
Concern from uncertain, wait, it could be fine, but
because you could put yourself in their shoes, and it's just it's not even that they don't want to be excited for you. It's just,
what are you talking about? Yeah.
Well, yesterday it was this, Dave.
Right. My kids were too young, but Aaron and I think, and the girls indirectly, just the being aware of seismic change. And, there was so much financial uncertainty and future uncertainty, and finances hits on your home and education, and so it was ripple affected for sure. And I'm sure the girls picked up on that in some way, whether they could articulate that now or not. But that, I think, how did you ask it again? That's what would have been better if I. Is that how you asked it?
Yeah, that's a way of saying it.
That would be, I think, we would have gotten to a healthier place faster than we did.
This could be off, right? But do you see any connecting dots between this idea of a big dining room table and the lack of that around a situation 15 years ago? Because when I think of a big dining room table, I think of a lot of the words you were using of shared, collaborative, more invitation and life sharing. And but then you look, 15 years in the past, and there was less of that. You weren't sharing where you kind of were. It was full charge ahead.
Yeah.
Just curious.
No, good point. No, it's I don't remember how you asked it, but I see how doing that decision in that way, it did not help grow or nurture the table. If anything, it shrunk it for a little bit, or made people wonder if they wanted to be at that table, or yeah, for sure.
It's interesting because obviously you wouldn't be where you are now if we only have this version. I think sometimes regret is one that I can't stop thinking about. It's once you hear it, you can't unhear it, because everybody has regret. And most of us sit with that regret, but can't name it or turn it on its head and be like, well, what is my regret telling me about what I value? And I think going 10 years in the future, like we just did, and then 15 years into the past for Dave, there's this like ability to be like, oh, there's definitely a deep longing and desire for connection with the people that are closest to you, the big dining room table. And there's an ability with all your creativity and curiosity to forego that big dining room table for individualism and like full steam ahead when the big dining room table is not convenient.
Yeah.
But regret is telling you like connection is super important, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something about bringing people with, participating together, collaboration. So again, it's not like, oh, this is for sure, in a typical core value session, we're setting like, oh, here's your core values but I think there's some theme there that's like fun that we're tapping on that if we had a longer time, I'd be like, oh, let's just go like a little further into that. That seems very interesting how that regret, there's some boldness regret, right? Like a lot of times people think of boldness regret and they go, the thing I should have done but didn't do. But there's also the thing I did that I could have done differently. And you have a little bit of that. But then connection regret is, well, I should have, it's people, right? It's community. And I think I've heard you mention that regret several times, and it does seem like it's heavy in the connection side. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. No, it's good. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being vulnerable on that.
Of course. No, those are good questions.
Okay, so I don't want to keep us for too long, but I'll let people into a little bit of like what I would typically do and what we would typically do. Is we've explored through like a couple activities. You also filled out like a little survey beforehand, which is fun to always see. There's like 50 plus values on there, and you check a bunch of them, and that gives me an idea of like, okay, out of 50, Dave's gotten it down to about 20, then we can like try on some things. So one of my favorite things to do, and people can do this at home with a friend. Don't do it by yourself. It's just something better about just talking this out with somebody. But you can try on a value. And you don't have to commit to it. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and say, I care about, like if Dave loves curiosity. You don't have to wake up tomorrow necessarily and be like, I'm going to model curiosity like Dave does. But you could do this with any value. And you could just say, well, how would my life be different if this was the lens I looked at things through? Or I think of it as like a jacket that you wear, right? Like if I woke up tomorrow and this jacket has like authority on it, and like now Benji is going to be authoritative because he's wearing authority today. Right. That changes the way I conversate with my wife, how I lead my son. That changes how I show up at work, right? And so there becomes this like invitation. How would you speak if authority mattered to you, right? And to each person also, I will say, that might be different. You might be in a place where actually authority sounds like something you would actually pick. It could be in a season of your life that authority needs to be something that you, and that level of clarity is something that's good for people. And then for others, it would be like, that doesn't resonate at all. So can we do that with a couple values before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure.
So I picked a couple that you did not pick. And I think this is really fun to do. We'll just do one, but you did not pick simplicity. And I'm just curious if Dave woke up tomorrow and is like, I'm getting dressed for the day and I'm putting on simplicity. What might that change? And it's all we're doing is workshopping it. So you can't be right or wrong. Okay. But it's like, I'm going to prioritize simplicity tomorrow. What does that change for you?
I would put on simplicity. I would go about the day naked.
All right.
Obviously. Can't get simpler than that, right?
Yeah.
But then it gets complex quickly.
It does.
Yeah. I wonder, so if simplicity was like my marching order, that was like my drive.
Yep. You see the world, and that's the way you're looking at it.
I think I would probably have the night before set out everything for breakfast. Like what I was.
So there's actually a planning element to you of simplicity.
To be simple, I feel like I would have to get ready for it. Fewer decisions. Like I wake up, I walk out, I wash my face, brush my teeth, and there's
routine
or something like I've set it up beforehand maybe. So then that part of the morning is just done. What I love about our home right now, and I think this is from us growing up in Japan, is that we are sort of the opposite of cluttered, like the Japanese feel of a space. It's very minimal and simplistic. I love that. So I wonder if we, even more simple then. Maybe it would. We have too many shoes in our entryway, but we take our shoes off when we go into our house, also because of Japan.
Yep.
But
same with us with Kenya.
really,
Yep.
yeah. So I think either forcing or inviting us all to get rid of a couple pairs of shoes or pay those forward somehow, would move some furniture in the entryway.
Let me give you an area of your life.
Yeah.
So like with your health,
Yeah.
how, if simplicity was the lens, what would it change about the decisions you make with health? I think actually food is an interesting one. Like you said, the night before I might lay out my clothes for me, but if simplicity, like, and you're like, I want to be simplistic, but I want to be a healthy person. Would that value change something for you?
Interesting, right? Because I was thinking one way I hear about if simplicity is driving things for me, one way to do that is simple, sheer calories, right?
Yep.
As dumb and efficient and mechanistic. Like maybe I could even get a doctor to like cut a slit into my like stomach or throat, and I just put like a nutrient bar.
Yeah.
And then I'm done, right?
Yep.
But I despise that idea.
Yeah, and
So-
you didn't even pick this value, right?
Right.
We're just getting
Yeah, I
curious
love it.
about Dave with simplicity
So
as
it's
a
like
value.
simplicity when it comes to food. Like so much of me is like railing against that, like the time and the ritual and the depth of all that. And if I was, that feels complex and it takes time to do that, and that doesn't feel simple to me. So maybe, that's interesting. If simplicity was driving things with my health.
Like I'll give you one for me.
Yeah.
If simplicity was driving my health, I would just walk for 30 minutes a day.
Oh.
That's the simplest. That like, okay, set it and forget it. I might add more stuff, but at base minimum, the simple version of Benji just walks for 30 minutes a day.
And you don't have to change anything.
I don't have to change anything.
Anything.
It's just like, this is simple, but I know at least I've got the 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
But because I didn't go at all where your head went with simple, but this is why values are so different for every person, is because when you hear simple, somebody is screaming on the other side of listening to this going, how can they be thinking this is what simple would be? Because they picked simple as a core value.
Right, that's not what simple is.
Right, that's not what getting rid of shoes, who cares? That's not simple. But there's something that it triggers in us when we think of certain words. Yeah. And so to take it to a word that you did pick, and then we'll wrap up for today and we could go layers deeper, but this was a lot of fun. You picked wholeness as one of your words. Yeah. And I'm curious, what is Dave wakes up tomorrow and wholeness is the place that he's living from, is the lens that he sees the world through, is the way he makes decisions. What is that version of you?
Wholeness to me means fully orbed. Like a fully orbed human is whole, holistic, heart, soul, mind, strength. Wholeness means emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically good and healthy. So waking up tomorrow and wholeness is driving things means kind of a relentless pursuit of scheduling in time with friends every day for my emotional and social well-being, time every day reading and exploring challenging ideas for my mental and cognitive exercise, time every day to go for the walk and do the push-up and the crunch and the making my body warm and sore from working out and just the robust. If wholeness is driving things, then I become much more driven, and in some senses, and I say this intentionally, rigid, non-negotiable on.
Does rigid sound inviting to you in this time or not?
I say it dramatically.
Yep.
Like if wholeness is driving things and is the only value driving me, then it's like forget everything else. Like I might get fired from my job, but I need these 4 or 5 things to nurture those different facets.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of things on that. When you hear wholeness and think of that, I think of growth actually, or excellence. Wholeness to me, almost from the part of the way that you described wholeness, I think I resonate with, of like there's this whole body, mind, body strength, like that's present and here
Mm-hmm.
and participating,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a striving. It's not a driven.
Mm.
It's because wholeness in one sense would then just become it's always something out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, and I think
Yeah.
that's one of the mistakes we make with something like a word like excellence or growth,
Right.
is that
Right.
there's clearly an ability to say you've never arrived,
Yeah.
which we all know as humans, what are we waiting to arrive at? It's just all about journey. But wholeness to me becomes, and maybe this is just something we can leave this session thinking about, I think wholeness is more of an invitation into presence. That when you're whole, you are in need of nothing. You are lacking nothing. You're aware of how good right now is and how open you could be to the big table. You don't have to, like, a whole version of Dave, in my opinion, 15 years ago goes, we got all the time in the world. I'm good if the center takes a little bit longer because right now is good enough and my family's included in this. And so there's just this ability to participate in now without feeling like you have to be whole. Like, I'm going to try so hard that I'm whole.
Right.
And so
yeah.
it's more of just, we'll end with just an invitation to be like, what would that look like tomorrow? If the continuum of motivation that we talked about at the very beginning, if the value was something like wholeness or light, was one of the words you brought up that I would invite you to explore a little bit more. But that version of Dave shows up tomorrow. I just wonder if there's like a specifically with light. I don't think wholeness is it because of what it conjures up for you, but there's something about, I don't have to like check off every one of these boxes every day in order to accomplish light.
Right.
I don't know if that resonates at all.
That's good. Yeah. I love the sort of the layered, you were talking about the layers of this, and to me, after trying it and feeling it for a while, I think so like an engine or a value is like an engine rather than something on the periphery. It's like a drive. It's a motivation. Yeah. You kind of sift down through until you hit sort of core, engine, heart, gut. That was really helpful because whatever that is, the core, the value, the drive, the engine thing, that actually helps you decide what is pain and punishment and what you're guilty about, right? So I like how, we've talked about this belief that we have at the center of that you can't go deeper than good, like goodness. Like the reason I care about that so much is precisely as what I think what you're helping people get at. Valuing goodness means goodness drives your decisions and how you see the world. And I like that rather than kind of getting stuck. It's easier to get stuck in the weeds and the branches of like guilt and I'm doing this for accolades or for acceptance or like, well, maybe, but really what's driving that is I just love goodness and wholeness.
As I've been doing this work with more people, one of the things that was most intriguing about the center is just that I think actually the conversation we had about is goodness running things is one of the questions that I have to ask people in this journey. I didn't have to ask you today in this session, but what your bedrock belief about things does very much color how you come into a conversation around values. And so it's an ordering and a reordering of things. But I think values is so fun. And this is why I've kind of railed against in several episodes, toxic individualism. Core values is easily one of those things. I don't know, you might've mentioned it in the survey, like what other assessments you've done and things, but like the Enneagram or whatever those are for you, DISC, you can go do that on your own. And it does have a level of like, oh, you're learning some things. But specifically, even with core values, when you do that alone and it's just like, I'm just going to pick these words, but you don't actually see how it might seep into and how your perception of that word, it's like this furniture inside that you're rearranging things and you're going, oh, this is what it would look like for this to actually seep into things. Peace for a long time was a word because I was very chaotic internally. Learning what peace felt like in my body took a lot longer than checking it off on a values assessment.
Sure.
And so that's the hope from these sessions is like, we're not rushing to pick our core values and like, we're going to strive to become this better version of ourselves. It's a rediscovery of like, this is something that really matters to Dave. And it might take a while to even get to what that is. And that's the whole point. That's the fun. So
good. I love it.
It's a good world out there. Stay curious. I'm excited. You're going to coach me in the next episode. So
you're here.
You're here.